Welcome to the Forsyth Magazines podcast. I'm Brooke Eagle, your host, bringing you the stories of the people shaping our community. From business owners to local leaders, we'll explore their journeys, passions, and lessons learned. Let's dive in. Hey guys, we are back with another podcast episode, and today I have my friend Carolyn Breeze. She is the Vice President of Philanthropy and Community Engagement at Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina. Wow, that was a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Carolyn, it's so exciting to have you.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to see you and to be here.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about this amazing organization. They are doing such vital work right here in our community. I'm sure you are familiar with Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina. They serve 18 counties. Is that correct?
That is correct.
18 counties, and they work with nearly 500 community partners to help ensure that families have access to something that's obviously foundational, which is food.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Carolyn, I want to talk about A, how you got here to Second Harvest, and B, what food access really looks like in our community and some things that people misunderstand, and why this summer season specifically is so important.
Absolutely. Well, ironically enough, about 11 years ago, I was watching the Today Show, and there was a circle around the Piedmont Triad, and they were talking about the high food insecurity rates right here in the community that I grew up in. And it was one of the highest in the country. And I just was taken back. I was fortunate not to have to face food insecurity, but knowing that there was that challenge in our community right here where I grew up was really disturbing to me. And a year later, and I just could never get it out of my mind, those statistics. And about a year later, I had a phone call from Clyde Fitzgerald, and there was an opportunity at the food bank in community engagement and philanthropy, and I had some conversations with Clyde. I was very inspired, prayed about the decision. I was currently at Trellis Supportive Care at the time and really engaged and loved my job there. But it was that circle around the Piedmont Triad and those food insecurity statistics that really inspired me to make the move to Second Harvest.
I think I actually remember that being national news several years ago, and it was pretty shocking.
It is.
Because I think some of us are kind of living, not putting our head in the sand, but like a little bit, you just don't realize what.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Our mantra is everybody deserves to eat. And our vision truly at Second Harvest is a food secure, healthy community.
Yeah, it's so important. So important. So I want to talk about some of the recent changes, which this change I'm about to say is not that recent. To me, it still feels like y'all are in your brand new building, but it's not so new anymore. But it is super impressive. It's massive. And the amount of classes and good work that this building is helping to make happen is just really impressive. So can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, when I came to Second Harvest in 2017, I knew we were going to be going into a capital campaign for a new facility. And the reason being is that where we were off of 109, we'd outgrown our current warehouse space. So we were actually leasing two 20,000 square foot warehouses across the street. And then some of the Providence team and the philanthropy and marketing team were down the street and around the corner. So if you could imagine, we were in 4 different facilities. And in addition to that, we had anywhere between 20 and 25 refrigerated trucks around the perimeter of our warehouse at that time because we were out of cold storage capacity. So if you could imagine, the logistics of our operations team was very challenging. They did a wonderful time moving food in between those warehouses and such, but we knew that we could be more efficient if we were in one facility. So that's where that journey began for a new facility, and here we are in Whitaker Park.
It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
It's such a beautiful building. So to back up a little bit, I just want to be a little more broad for listeners who may not know, what does Second Harvest actually do?
So we provide food assistance in the 18 counties we serve, so basically Boone to Burlington. We really work through a network of partners and programs. So as you mentioned earlier, we have over 500 programs that we work with throughout the region. And our goal is on average, we provide 82% of the food that our partner agencies and programs distribute to our neighbors in need. there's just a lot of challenge, and it's very hard to understand. A lot of people think, they don't understand the challenges of hunger and why people that are working are food insecure, because the majority of the people that we serve are working families, working individuals. But it's the cost of childcare, of housing, food, gas, especially recently. You've seen in the news more, the cost of gas and food in particular.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If you go to the grocery store, you will see.
Exactly. So everybody's facing that. But those that are really trying to balance, all the dynamics of family, and those older senior folks that are on medications and having to make the choice between medication, housing, air and heat. It's just an ongoing challenge for so many people. And so our goal is to work with our partners to provide nutritious food and also, depending those folks that are a little bit older or not even older, but that are facing chronic health challenges like heart disease and diabetes and those kind of things. So it's really important that not only are we providing food, but nutritious food. So crazy enough, we work with a lot of local farmers for fresh produce. We have a program called Farm Fresh Nourish, and we work directly with these local farmers. And that way the produce, because of the longevity of produce, doesn't last that long. It needs to be cooled and refrigerated. We are able to send that food directly to our partner agencies.
Oh, that's so interesting. My brain can't even wrap around the logistics that must be involved in all of this, as far as especially for that nutritious, fresh food, that you make sure it's getting there by a certain date and then it's getting gone by a certain date. And I mean, you have eggs and dairy and all the things.
Well, and thank you for asking about the challenges of the logistics too, because part of our mission is not only to provide food for today, but also workforce development. So we have a couple programs that address the root causes of hunger, and that is the folks that are trying to get into the workforce arena, so to speak. And so we have a Providence Culinary Training Program that started 20 years. We've graduated over 1,000 graduates. This provides an opportunity for a lot of the students that come through the program. Some of them have had barriers to success, so to speak, whether it be school, addiction challenges, incarceration. It really provides a second, sometimes third chance for folks to have the proper training for a strong career path forward in the culinary arena. And then also, speaking of logistics, we also partnered with Forsyth Tech, and we're providing, and it was one of the goals of being in this facility, a warehouse logistics program and forklift training.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big need for a lot of folks that have big warehouses and have to distribute, in our case, food.
Yeah.
But in other cases, there's just a large need for those kind of warehouse logistics skills and forklift training
that's so
skills.
Interesting. That's something you wouldn't really think about, but that's a huge portion of it.
So I want to make sure I know for the listeners that Providence is not just for the second chance. It actually is a full-blown culinary training facility. My son was a Golden Cutting Board award, and he also worked there afterwards. But
yes, congratulations.
And now he's a sous chef.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we hear many of the stories from the graduates. Yes, so it's not only for people that really have had barriers to success in that arena, but for folks that are just interested in the culinary experience and gaining those skill sets that are so important. And we have a lot of employment partners here in the Triad that we work with. So the graduation rate is excellent, but they're really looking for those highly skilled culinary trained individuals to hire into their restaurants and kitchens. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't want to go to culinary school. He didn't want to spend all that money. So he got involved with Providence, and then former instructor Brian DePaulis.
Yes.
When he left, Trey, my son, left just a few months later, and they got hooked up with local restaurants, and then Brian started his catering company, and that's Trey is his sous chef now.
Just love to hear that. And some of our graduates have even gone on to be entrepreneurs themselves and start their own business. So congratulations to Trey.
It's a great program. I highly recommend Providence.
How do you go about learning more about that program if you or somebody you know is interested in being
So we
in that
work
program?
really closely with Forsyth Tech. So all the students are students of Forsyth Tech. We also work closely with Goodwill. If you are interested, you can call the food bank. We can direct you to those connections that help you get educated about how to get into the program and that kind of thing. And so it's not very difficult to do.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's such a cool program that you guys offer. I love that. We touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk about what is often misunderstood about food insecurity and kind of some misconceptions that people have. You did mention how a lot of people that you guys are serving are working.
Correct.
What are some other misconceptions?
And I just think
that
that's it. That there's just challenges with juggling just the many things that every family has to deal with. But depending on, your pay scale and that kind of thing, and just the benefits cliff, that's where an individual may get a promotion at work, but once you get that promotion at work, you lose certain benefits. And so it keeps people in this cycle, this endless cycle. It's really hard to move up and become self-sufficient without assistance. I will share with you that the folks that access food through our pantry network, they don't come but once or twice a year, and they only come when needed. It's and nobody, it's really a pride thing for many people too. Nobody really wants assistance. They want to be independent and do it on their own. But this is just, an opportunity to support people when they're going through trials and challenges. And
Sure.
So typically it's not a long-term, our clients and our neighbors, it's not a long-term commitment that they need to access the pantry network system or other direct distributions and those kind of things. But we're just here when they need the help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes into my next question, which is why summer is so important. Because a lot of kids, they're out of school in the summer and they do depend on the schools for lunch and for snack and for even the backpack program. So how are you guys involved with making the summertime a little bit easier for some of these families?
Well, thank you so much. It is probably the most challenging time of the year. All holidays are when school is out, but especially summer, when they're out for 2.5, 3 months. So we really focus on that time of year, working to increase the capacity of our partner agencies with nutritious food. We do a lot of effort and fundraising. In fact, this summer, our campaign, which we're really excited about because it's so meaningful, but it's Keep the Lunch Bell Ringing. I think all of us that grew up and went through school, we were ready to eat. We were ready to spend time with our friends, and we were hungry. But you know, and we know, not only in school but in work, you cannot thrive and pay attention if you're not eating. You don't have that fuel, to feel good and to thrive. And so I just love the Keep the Lunch Bell Ringing because I think it will resonate with all ages, not only, the youth that count on it day to day, but there's a consistency throughout the school year where families and children can count on that nutrition provided at school. During the summer, it's not as consistent. So we focus on providing extra support, as I mentioned, through our partner network, but also we have some feeding sites, some not after school programs, but summer programs, some summer feeding sites where we provide community meals that actually are produced and put together at the food bank, and we transport these to the feeding sites, and they're actually heated as they come, so the kids can have a nice, nutritious, warm meal. But to keep the Lunch Bell Ringing campaign, we have a match every year. A bunch of really generous folks step up, and typically that match every year was over 2 months, which was May and June, and it was a $300,000 match. This year we had a donor come up and want to increase that match pool, and with that match increase, we've expanded this summer campaign for 3 months. So May, June, and July, it's a match $1 to $1.
Wow.
So you're doubling your impact, and that's up to $550,000.
That's amazing.
The community is really stepping up to support us and help us, increase the capacity and support that we give those families during these summer and the challenging months when school's out.
So can our listeners donate specifically to that campaign so that their dollar can be matched?
Well, so it's our annual fund campaign. So the campaign is just our year-round campaign, but we really, as I mentioned, focused on summer because that's where most of our resources are needed. So that's why we have this wonderful match by generous folks. And I will share that we're just so grateful. Brooke, we live in a very philanthropic, caring community, and they really are stepping up. And this year has been particularly hard. We've had some federal funding cuts to our programs, which amounted to over $3 million to our budget. We had a historical shutdown, government shutdown, and that affected a lot of folks that depend on SNAP, which are food stamps, and other WIC, which is Women, Infant, and Children, another really important program that provides nutrition. And, it's just been a challenging year. And now you see with the rising cost of food, fuel, and those kind of challenges. And then just think about the parents. So you've got your children home. They're not in school during the summer. They're having to balance, their work schedules, childcare. Transportation is a huge logistic to even getting the children to the feeding sites, the summer feeding sites. So there's just numerous challenges. But we work really closely to help navigate that for our neighbors in need. And this support and this campaign, Keep the Lunch Bell Ringing, is really pivotal to helping us.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's good for people to understand this, because I think a lot of people kind of, if food insecurity is not on your radar, summer is a time for vacation and for not really thinking about that kind of thing. But hunger doesn't stop because it's
hunger
summertime.
It surely doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk about how our listeners, how our community can help, whether that's donations, whether that's volunteering, general awareness, kind of what are some options that would be good for listeners.
Well, thank you for asking. It's so important. And as I mentioned, the community does step up. But there are so many ways that you can help. Time, talent, treasure. Time, volunteer. Spread the word. Advocate. Advocacy is very important to us. We can help you and provide you with the educational material you'll need to advocate for us. Volunteering at the food bank. Just talking about it with your friends and family. Just saying, we're on vacation this summer. Our children are out of school, some may be going to camp. There are many families that's just not an option for. So really just being transparent about the challenges of people in our community is important. Donating, of course, financial support is very important. We couldn't do it without the financial support of the community stepping up.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the many ways that you can help.
I always like to tell people, for whatever reason, Second Harvest always comes to my mind first for this example. But in this case, I feel like it's much better to donate money rather than food, because you guys can access food for so much. You can get so much more for $1 than I can going into the grocery store.
That's right. So we do have purchasing power, so to speak. And so we can actually stretch $1 to provide up to 6 meals. And the reason that we can do that is partly because of that purchasing power. Partly because of the volunteers that come and help us sort and pack food and transport food, our partner agency network. It's just a combination of collective efforts that help us stretch that dollar to be so meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some volunteer opportunities for groups? I'm thinking about my gym getting together and doing a volunteer activity. Is that something that you guys offer?
We have 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. We have opportunities in the morning and the afternoon to sort food. That's expecting food that has been reclaimed from our grocery retail partners, and we're just expecting them for the Best Buy Day, just making sure that they're safe and to distribute on, to pass along. So every item that is donated, we check before we pack. Then it's also packing food that has been given to us through food drives and things like that. Same. Also, food that's been purchased is just dividing that food up into boxes to distribute to partner agencies so that our clients, our neighbors have a choice. Personal choice is really good. We want our neighbors to have food that they want to enjoy, that they'll eat, and not give them and force them onto something that they don't like. We want them to have that choice. I think it's really important. We call that client choice. And then another really fun activity is in our community meals kitchen. So you can actually come in, you and your friends and colleagues, and help us cook and prepare these meals. And it's very meaningful as well to do that.
So I would assume we go to the website to kind of learn more about that or to sign up.
You can go to the website. It's fairly easy to navigate. And if you're having trouble, just call the front desk and we'll help you. But basically, you'll see all the different opportunities that we have for volunteerism, the time slots, the days, the availability, and that kind of thing. So if you're going to sign up a large group, I would say over 10 people, give us a call, either me or Reedy Minch, who is head of volunteer services, and that team will help coordinate that for you.
Okay. That's awesome.
And Providence is Providence. Hold on. Yeah, I saw it. I had it. Uno momento. ProvidenceWS.org.
Yes.
And that will actually take you to their thing. And if you hit culinary training, it goes to the Second Harvest site.
Well, on Second Harvest, NWNC, it's all there. So you can link.
It's all under the umbrella.
It's all under the umbrella.
Yep.
So you can link to any of those programs, such as Providence, through that main website. Yes.
Well, I feel like we can't let this episode end without mentioning Jeff Bacon.
Yes.
I know he officially retired, but he was such a big part of did he start Providence?
He started Providence.
He sure did 20 years ago in 2006. And actually, crazy enough, today is Empty Bowls. And he's our honorary chairperson for Empty Bowls this year. So we just want to honor his legacy. Even though he's retired from Second Harvest after a long tenure, he is still close by. And, we just are going to build upon the foundation that he built. And he has saved so many people's lives. And, he came from a challenged background as well. And this culinary industry, gave him a path forward. And so we were just, for him to have been so committed to starting a program like this that was not easy to do back in the day, and for Nan Griswold and others, who was the executive director at the time, to support those efforts in the community and donors to step up to make this happen. I encourage anybody to come over for a tour of the food bank. They can see the students at work and their training, and they can also come to one of the Providence graduations, because I will tell you, if you attend one of those graduations, you'll be changed forever. The students, when they get through this program, it's a rigorous program. 13-week program, but their lives are truly changed, and they have a connection with the students and the culinary chefs that to help teach them and guide them through this program, and they just share that experience and how it's shaped their lives and the lives of their family.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that is great work, and a huge shout out to Jeff for having a dream and a vision and putting in all that time and effort.
Yes, indeed.
So Empty Bowls is today. I'm actually going to be driving through when I leave here. I always tell people my bowl collection, like, I don't have any like normal set of bowls. It's just all of my empty bowls over the years. That's my collection of bowls. I use every day.
And they're so meaningful. So this is our 25th anniversary of Empty Bowls. It's a beloved community event, but that bowl stands for a lot. It symbolizes an empty bowl, food insecurity and the challenges that many people face. And so we used to have an in-person event, but now it's a drive-through. That all happened through COVID. But you know what? It has been really very popular because teachers who see food insecurity every day, first and foremost, they're able to participate in this drive-through, or their family members, and go home and have dinner together and actually talk about and have a conversation about what this empty bowl means and how we can work together as a community to address it. And so, it's just allowed more people to participate now that it's not an in-person. And I'll tell you, when you go through that line driving, you are going to be inspired, energized. You'll see the Providence students out there dancing and singing, and we have a DJ, and it's just an upbeat day to celebrate the work that we do and helping as a collective effort to support those in our community that are facing challenges.
Oh, yeah. It's a fantastic event. So is that Is that the biggest event that you guys put on every year?
It is. It is our largest signature fundraising event. We have a lot of third-party events that we really appreciate, like the Ardmore Raw, Run on the Runway, PTI Run on the Runway. And that's another way that people can volunteer is organize. In fact, last year we had a group come together. It was a Mahjong group. You know how popular Mahjong is right now.
Yeah.
It's the craze. Well, do you know our goal was 100 people? We had 145 people at that event. So this was a group that came. We pulled this off in 6 weeks. They approached me, and we pulled off that very successful event that raised over $25,000. So think outside of the box. That's what I want the community to do. You know, find a passion that you have, put it to good work, and benefit Second Harvest if it makes sense, and that's something that's important to you.
I love that. And so I'm sure if people have a fantastic idea, they could reach out to you. They could reach out to somebody on the website and kind of get the wheels turning for that.
We'll help them out.
I love it outside of the box event. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, Carolyn, this has been so much fun to get to learn a little bit more about Second Harvest. And you've been in the nonprofit world for so long, and you just have such a philanthropic heart. And so it's just been cool to watch your different seasons.
Well, thank you. I've been inspired by a lot of leaders and mentors that have helped to shape my life.
I love that.
Thank you.
So, if you would like to check out more about Second Harvest as far as volunteer opportunities, donation opportunities, remind me what the website.
It is www.secondharvestnwnc.org.
All right, go check them out for sure. And as always, you can find Forsyth Mags online at forsythmags.com and on Instagram at Forsyth Mags. And that is it. That's a wrap for today. Thanks, y'all. The views and opinions stated on this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting companies. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced without expressed written consent of Forsyth Magazines Incorporated. Ooh, that's a mouthful.